The big news of the week, obviously, is dealing with what's happening across the street at the Supreme Court and what happened there. Someone on the Supreme Court staff, one of the clerks, someone at this point, leaked out a draft opinion document from February as they're working on the Dobbs case from Mississippi. This deals with the issue of, is Roe v. Wade still the law of the land? Because the Supreme Court took up a case out of Mississippi where Mississippi said, we want to end all abortions at 15 weeks. That challenges directly Roe v. Wade and this issue of viability that the court literally invented in 1973. And it asked the question, is that a legitimate legal standard? Or as every state to determine this issue of when does life begin? The court took that over in 1973 without any legal authority, without any statutory background, and said the court's going to decide when life begins. It begins at not conception, but it begins at viability, and states can then manage abortion after viability. What this draft document, which initially, I honestly didn't believe that it was real initially, just because it's unheard of for one of these draft documents to come out of the Supreme Court. It's such a small number of people that actually draft these documents and go through it together. But now today, on Tuesday, the Chief Justice of the court has announced that yes, that is a real document. It's authentic, was the words that he said, but not final. In other words, there's still lots of edits that are going on with that. But what it shows us is there are currently at least five members of the court that are saying Roe v. Wade should have never been decided the way that it was decided almost 50 years ago, and they're going to return the authority back to the people and to legislatures across the country to be able to make the decision on the issue of life. That justices don't have the ability to just blanket decide that. That has to be done in legislatures, which, by the way, was the way that it was done in 1973 and before. So a couple of issues here. One is, it is horrible that someone leaked out information. That's going to destroy trust within the court for a very long time, in all likelihood decades, that this is going to affect the functioning of the court, because we have not had individuals leak out information like this. We need to find out who it was and their motivation for this leak, and the court needs to be able to hold them to account. That's their responsibility. They need to do that. The Chief Justice has already announced that he is going to be able to hold this individual to account, and they're going to find out with a full investigation. That's a good thing. Second thing is, this puts it squarely back into our state, it looks like, and into the people to be able to determine about this issue of life. Our state has already spoken into this and said our state values every single child. Every child is valuable and important in our state. We don't have some children that are disposable and some children that are valuable. In Oklahoma, every child is valuable. I fully understand that there are some other states that are going to say we have some children that are disposable that we don't want, and they're going to be thrown away as medical waste, and we have some children that we do want. I find that abhorrent personally, and I am shocked at the number of people that are staying at the Supreme Court right now cheering and chanting and saying they want to have the right to be able to take the life of more children in the days ahead. I think that we as a nation will long-term look back on this season of our country that's now passing behind us and be appalled that there was a season in American history that we as a nation destroyed children because they were inconvenient. Time will tell on that in the days ahead, but I'm going to stand firmly on the side of every single child being valuable and precious, and that some children are disposable and some children are valuable. We'll see when the actual court decision comes out. There's a lot of conversation to be able to have as I talk to people a lot. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, which it looks like it's going to be, that doesn't take away abortion in America. That means it moves from state to state in each legislature, including federal legislature, to be able to have votes and to be able to make a decision on the issue of life and how we're protecting children. Each state has different laws on DUI, for instance. So as people say there'll be a patchwork of laws, there's already a patchwork of laws across 50 states with different laws dealing with business transactions, with contracts, with DUI, as I mentioned, and multiple other things. Each state has different laws on a lot of issues. We're about to have different laws on the issue of life. I'm just proud of our legislature that they've already stepped up, and our governor who's already stepped up and said, we're going to value every single child. That's the right way to be able to do that. And I think long term, that's going to be where we go as a country as well, as people move from abortion being illegal to one day being unthinkable and saying, why would we ever destroy a child just because they weren't convenient in the moment? We'll keep this dialogue going, but there's a lot to be able to talk about. I'm going to continue to be able to continue the work that's actually happening here. In fact, I'm heading out to a meeting right now. Hopefully we'll get a chance to be able to catch up. You can always track us at lankford.senate.gov, lankford.senate.gov. That's on our website there. It's got our email address, it's got our phone numbers, it's got even a snail mail address if you want to be able to write us a letter and put a stamp on it, or you can track us at all the social media platforms at Senator Lankford, whether that's Getter or Facebook, obviously, or Twitter or whatever it may be. You'll be glad to be able to reach out to us there at Senator Lankford. So we'll connect and get a chance to be able to track through some of your questions in the days ahead.